during that Chargers Bengals game on Sunday, Joey Bosa left the game, went into concussion protocol, and he was cleared. Now, I found this really interesting. I didn't learn this until this morning. Maybe none of us did. No, this came out last night. But Daniel Popper tweeted this out. He said, Joey Bosa was cleared of a concussion, but Brandon Staley said he decided to keep Bosa out of the game because of his concussion history. Quote, as long as I'm the head coach here, Staley said, I'm going to be making decisions like that in the best interest of our players. And the reaction was beautiful. Courtney Ramsey said, as someone who's had a concussion where I felt completely normal 5 seconds after getting hit, only to wake up the next morning slurring my words and not cleared for school for 2.5 weeks, I appreciate the caution. I will never fault a coach for acting in the best interest of his players. Jeff, the gamer guy, who is a Raiders fan, says it's nice to see someone actually give a damn about their players. Pete Anatelli, he's a Jets fan, says Chargers have a real one. I love this. Sometimes you got to protect the player from himself. David Manzo says Asante Samuel Jr. had a couple over the last 3-week period, and Staley is making the correct call to keep Bosa healthy for the end of the year. Team had to step up in his absence, and they did. HPJ says, got to give props to the coach. Putting their immediate team interest, concussions, even minor ones, are compounding and can have devastating effects over the long term. And Alex says the NFL health protocols are such a joke. It's nice to see a coach care. Look back at Devontae Adams going back into a game when something was obviously wrong, and Daniel Jones playing a week after he could barely walk. Now the main concern, taunting. And yes, we've seen lots of that. We just talked about the play through the pain with playing with a dislocated finger on the Bengals side with Joe Burrow. However, here's Joey Bosa, obviously one of the important pieces to the Chargers in an important game that they have to win. He gets cleared from concussion protocol. Brandon Staley's just like, nope, I'm taking your health into consideration. Brandon Staley has come out. His interviews have been fantastic this year. He's open. He's transparent. He's spoken for the players. He's spoken on social justice. There's been so many things about him. If the Chargers can find consistency, and I think this is the big keys, but if they can find consistency over the next years, if they can compete, they don't have to win a Super Bowl, but compete and find consistency. Is Brandon Staley going to be the future blueprint when you're hiring an NFL coach?
I think so. I think this is actually going to be the way of the NFL, and I think we're going to see these types of situations play out a lot more common. I think we kind of saw it a little bit with Kyler Murray. You know, he had that injury, and I know he was like a game time decision 3 weeks in a row, and it was either the coach or the owner who said, we're really going to look at the long term when we look at this situation. We're not going to try and put him out there, potentially injure him just because we want to win now. I think people are finally starting to look at the big picture, especially here with Brandon Staley saying he wants to make sure that Joey Bosa is good, not just this week, next week, but also after he's done playing the game of football. And, you know, to put him out there and try and have him go for a couple other quarters just to try and win this one week 13 game and, you know, his fifth out of whatever it's going to be 12 seasons. When you really look at it like that, it's much more important to do things like this and you know, not try and risk somebody's health for the long term. So I hope that is what happens, and that there are coaches that are going to start to take up this style and as Staley's doing and not be, you know, just if they can walk, throw them in the game and, you know, worry about it 10 years later.